Chapter 8, Dark Waters. The night sky stretched overhead like a canvas painted with silver stardust, the full moon casting a shimmering path across the calm Aegean Sea. The gentle lapping of waves against the shore was a hushed lullaby, whispering secrets of the deep. The air was filled with the scent of salt and the faint, sweet aroma of night-blooming flowers from the island's interior. Lyra stood at the water's edge, her wetsuit a second skin, her heart pounding with anticipation. She checked her gear one last time, her fingers tracing the familiar shapes of her mask, fins, and tank. The beam of her dive light cut through the darkness, a promise of the mysteries it would soon illuminate. Her breath hitched, not from fear, but from the thrill of the unknown. She was a scientist, an explorer, and tonight, the sea was her undiscovered country. With a final glance at the moon, she waded into the water. The cool embrace of the sea sent a shiver up her spine, her body tingling with excitement. She pushed off, slicing through the surface, her form sleek and determined. The night claimed her, the world above reduced to a dim glow as she descended into the inky depths. The underwater realm at night was a symphony of eerie beauty. Bioluminescent organisms danced around her like tiny fairies, their glow casting ethereal shadows on the ocean floor. Seaweed swayed gently, reaching out like spectral fingers, and the subtle sounds of nocturnal marine life created a haunting melody. Lyra's breath, slow and steady, bubbled upwards, a rhythmic counterpoint to the symphony of the deep. Her eyes widened behind her mask, awe and scientific curiosity warring within her. She swept her light across the seascape, revealing hidden wonders. A cuttlefish pulsed with iridescent colors, inking a warning before darting away. A school of silverfish flashed like a living constellation, their synchronized movements a ballet of the deep. Lyra's mind raced, cataloging each observation, her heart swelling with the joy of discovery. She swam deeper, her senses heightened, her vulnerability acute. The darkness pressed in, a living thing, both enticing and daunting. Each shadow could hide a secret or a danger, each sound could be a whisper of the unknown or a warning. But Lyra was undeterred. She was a seeker of truth, a chaser of mysteries, and the night sea was her playground. A strange formation caught her eye, a cluster of rocks jutting from the seafloor like a miniature fortress. She approached, her light picking out the jagged edges and the dark crevices that promised hidden treasures. She reached out, her gloved hand hovering over the rocks, her breath catching in her throat. The thrill of discovery coursed through her veins, a potent drug that fueled her passion and her curiosity. The night dive was just beginning, and already, the sea was revealing its secrets. Shadows darted at the edge of Lyra's vision, dark and swift against the luminous underwater canvas. A faint, ominous hum resonated through the water, disturbing the once peaceful symphony. Her heart quickened, instincts flaring. Something was amiss. She stilled, scanning the depths, her breath held captive in her lungs. A sudden surge in the current sent a chill down her spine. The shadows grew bolder, coalescing into menacing forms. Territorial creatures, she realized, her analytical mind racing. They were guarding their domain, and she was the intruder. She kicked her fins, propelling herself towards the surface, but the shadows matched her pace, their silent pursuit unnerving. Her fingers brushed against a rocky outcrop, and she seized the opportunity. Wedging herself into a narrow crevice, she faced the open water, her dive light sweeping the area. The shadows circled, their forms now distinguishable, sleek, powerful bodies and cold, unblinking eyes. She was outmatched, but she wasn't ready to concede. Suddenly, a figure sliced through the water, swift and agile as a dolphin. Darius. He positioned himself between Lyra and the creatures, his stance protective, commanding. His eyes, dark and intense, seemed to communicate with the shadows, a silent warning echoing through the depths. The creatures hesitated, their formation scattering. Darius turned to Lyra, his hand outstretched. She took it, his grip firm and reassuring. With a powerful kick, he led them away from the danger, his body cutting through the water with an elegance that belied his strength. Lyra stayed close, her heart pounding in rhythm with their flight. They weaved through the underwater landscape, the threat receding with each propulsive kick. Lyra's lungs burned, her body aching from the exertion, but she held on, trusting Darius's lead. As they broke the surface, she gasped, her lungs greedily drawing in the night air. They reached the shore, collapsing onto the sand, their bodies trembling with adrenaline and relief. Lyra looked at Darius, his dark eyes reflecting the moonlight, his chest heaving. Gratitude welled within her, a warmth that spread through her veins, anchoring her to him. She reached out, her hand cupping his cheek, her thumb tracing the line of his jaw. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of the waves. His hand covered hers, his gaze holding her captive. In that moment, their bond deepened, an unspoken promise forged in the crucible of danger and relief. Lyra stood, her heart still racing, and stared at the water. The night's peaceful surface betrayed nothing of the danger lurking in the depths. She shivered, the cool night air pricking her skin, a reminder of her vulnerability. "Are you hurt?" Darius' voice was low, his eyes searching. "No, I'm just..." She shook her head, at a loss for words. What were those creatures? In the moonlight, his eyes seemed to hold ancient secrets. Protectors of the deep. They guard this island and its secrets. Secrets. The word hung between them, heavy with implication. "What secrets?" she whispered. Darius hesitated, as if weighing his next words. "There are legends, stories told by the oldest members of my family. Tales of a time when the sea and its creatures were even more mysterious, powerful, and wild." Lyra's breath caught. "What do you mean?" He took a step closer, his presence a comfort against the darkness. "This island, Nazyros, is said to be blessed, or cursed, with a hidden force. A power that defies explanation." She felt a tug deep within, a pull towards the unknown. What kind of power? A force beyond science. A magic that shapes the sea and its creatures. He gestured to the water. The legends speak of a time when the lines between myth and reality blurred. When creatures of legend walked these shores and swam in these waters. Lyra's mind raced, struggling to reconcile her scientific beliefs with the ancient lore. "You're saying these creatures, they're not just folklore?" He met her gaze, his expression intense. "I've witnessed things I can't explain. Phenomenon that challenges the boundaries of what we think we know." Lyra's heart hammered in her chest. She thought of the bioluminescent display, the feeling of being watched, the shadows that seemed to dance with an intelligence beyond the natural world. "Are you saying the impossible might be real?" A ghost of a smile played on his lips. "Perhaps the impossible is simply a door we haven't yet learned to open." She felt a thrill, a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "But, magic? Creatures of legend? The world is vast, Lyra. Our understanding is limited." He paused, his eyes soft with understanding. "But I sense that you, of all people, are willing to explore the realms beyond what we can see and touch." Her mind whirred, 1,000 questions clamoring for answers. But as she studied Darius, a realization settled over her. "You've experienced it, haven't you? The inexplicable." He nodded, his gaze holding hers. "I have seen things that would shatter the foundations of modern science. And I'm still here, trying to understand." Lyra's breath hitched, her eyes searching his face. "You're the first person I can share this with. This secret." "You can trust me, Lyra," he said, his voice a low rumble. "I will protect you, and our secrets." Their gaze held, electric with unspoken words. She felt a connection, a tacit understanding that went beyond the physical. It was as if they had both stepped through a doorway, into a realm where the rules were different, and only they knew the way. Lyra swallowed, her throat dry.